Hey guys, it's Miss Calkins here. We're going to do our first video lesson today. I hope that this is clear and that you understand, but remember, if there's anything that you don't understand and is not clear, that's what we'll take care of in the Zoom lesson or the Zoom meeting, so make sure you're checking your email for that invitation. So we are going to be talking today about classifying real numbers. This goes with what we left off with last time we were together, which was square roots and cube roots and fractions and decimals and all that stuff. So today we're going to talk about how you actually classify those and put them into these categories. Now, let me just say, I'm going to stop periodically through this, let you take a screenshot if you want to of this video, but all of this is also posted on Canvas. So if you just wanted to hop on a Canvas and pull up that PDF, everything that I'm writing up here is going to be on that PDF on Canvas. Okay. So the first one that we have is called our natural numbers, and that's referred to as the counting numbers. So if you were going to count to 10, those are the numbers that would be the counting numbers. So it's like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, etc. The one number that you need to make sure you don't include in this natural number category is 0. 0 is not a counting number, because if you were going to count from 1 to 10, you wouldn't say 0. So your counting numbers are whole numbers except 0. So here's a couple of things that we're going to add into that besides the counting numbers. There is no 0 in the counting numbers. The other important point for this, there are no negatives. If you were going to count from 1 to 100, you wouldn't include any negative numbers. There are no fractions. But I'm going to elaborate on that just a second. And there are also no decimals. So we're talking about just whole numbers. Now, the exception to no fractions would be fractions that simplify to a natural number. So if your fraction simplifies to a whole number, then it is considered a natural number. For example, if I gave you this 8/2, that's technically a fraction. But if you simplify 8/2, that simplifies to 4, which is a whole number, not 0, so it's considered a counting number. Okay, the next one is whole numbers, and this category is really easy. Whole numbers includes all of this, except now we can actually include 0. So if you're going to talk about the whole numbers, you're going to talk about 0, 1, 2, 3, etc. Okay? No fractions, no decimals. So just like the ones before, there's no fractions, no decimals in whole numbers unless they simplify to a whole number. So if you had something like this, 10/5, that would be considered a whole number if you simplify it, because it simplifies to 2. Okay? Something else that would fall into natural numbers and whole numbers would be the square root of 25. Now, if you remember, we talked about square roots before all this stuff happened. The square root of 25 is actually 5. So that would be considered a whole number, and that would also be considered a natural number. So before you decide it's one or the other, make sure you can't simplify it, because if you can simplify it to be a whole number or a natural number, then it would jump into that category. Okay, integers include all the whole numbers and the negatives. So this is the first category where we actually have our negative numbers. So if you were going to kind of make a list of examples of integers, you would have all the negative numbers like -3, -2, -1, 0, +1, +2, +3, etc. So it's all the whole numbers, all the ones that we included here, all the ones that we included here, but now we also get to include our negative numbers. You can't have any decimals, and you can't have any fractions unless they simplify to an integer, a whole number, okay? So for example, if I gave you -27/3, that would simplify to -9, and that would fall into that category right there. If I gave you the square root of 100, that would simplify to 10, which would fall into that category right there. So all that we're missing out of this category are decimals and fractions. So if it's a positive number, negative number, whole number, it can be considered an integer as long as it's not a decimal or a fraction. Okay, all right, I'm going to pause for just a second. If you want to take a screenshot of this, you can, but again, all of this is on Canvas on a notes page, so if you wanted to hop on there and look at that, you could.